A reading from Psalm number 46. Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. He says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. I'm going to begin by saying something rather obvious, and it's that we are all different. Just take a look at those around you, those whom you live with, those whom you work with, those whom you see each day. We all look different. We all think differently. And this difference has consequences, because no one else sees the world quite as you do or as I do. And so it's inevitable as we go through life, especially if we're sure of what we think about things, that we will disagree with others. We argue about very, very little things, like who might be the best in Strictly Come Dancing or Bake Off, or whether one should pour the milk or the tea in the bottom of the cup first. Sometimes we might even argue with ourselves, give ourselves a good talking to in the mirror. But we argue about much, much bigger things too, like politics and religion. Back in 2016, when we were all asked to vote on membership of the European Union, many of us voted with great passion to remain, and many, many others just as strongly to leave. Next year there will almost certainly be a general election in the UK. And some of you will vote Conservative, some will vote Labour, some will vote Liberal Democrat. Perhaps some of you may vote for the Greens or for Reform UK. For all I know, there could be people watching this who are staunch supporters of the monster raving loony party. And yet we all live together. We've learned to navigate our differences. We live with those differences. And at our best, we might even celebrate those differences. Whatever we may think, if we are to reimagine the future of our country and the future of our world, then we must be able to argue well and to live creatively with each other's differences. And it seems to me that part of what we do on Remembrance Sunday is to understand just what happens when we can no longer live with difference. We think of those times when arguments have gone far, far beyond words, when evil has had to be confronted. Remembering with thanksgiving and sorrow those whose lives in world wars and conflicts past and present have been given and taken away. And of course, as we all know too well, the evil of war is still very much a reality. As we speak, a generations-old conflict between Israeli Jews and Palestinian Arabs has fiercely reignited itself. And we read that many hundreds of civilians, perhaps nearly half of them children, are dying every day at the moment. And here on our own continent, a bloody and violent struggle grinds on miserably in Ukraine. And in both of these conflicts, and in so many others as well, listening and learning is completely drowned out by shouting and by shooting. The arguing, which in some ways defined what it is to be human, overflows into violence, into warfare. And in these and in so many other conflicts, we mar God's image in us. And yet, not all arguments are bad. Jesus argued quite a lot, actually. He really was not meek and mild and all things to all people. Jesus challenged each other quite deeply, quite a lot of the time. He turned tables over, literally and metaphorically. But Jesus arguing, though, often with those in power, spoke to the deepest longings of the human heart. For he knew that though we are all different, fundamentally, beneath it all, we humans all seek the same things. We all long for love, for friendship, for acceptance, for mercy, for forgiveness, for hope, and most of all today, most of all, for peace. On Remembrance Sunday, we come together as one to renew our commitment to peace. And faced with the evil of this world, we can sometimes feel so powerless. We can't do all that much about Israel and Gaza. We can't do much about Ukraine, or indeed any of the other conflicts happening all around the world at any one particular time. But something we can do is, in our arguments, in our disagreements, strive to live a different way. So on this Remembrance Sunday, let's try. Let's try to be people who seek peace, people who are agents of reconciliation in a bitterly divided world. Be in no doubt, we will always argue, but we can strive to argue well, and by doing so, play our own little part in building a world in which all have a valued place, where no one is left behind, and where all can truly one day live in peace.